It's that time again. I buy faulty electronic items from eBay, attempt to fix them and sell them on for a profit. I've recently done a video trying to fix a graphics card, and actually I was successful. However, it seemed to be a relatively easy fix. All I had to do was replace a few components that were missing from the board. I don't think I'm going to get that lucky twice over. Hold on to your seatbelts for this one. I paid a whopping £204.25 for this GeForce RTX 3080 Ti, which I'm assuming makes all the difference. It's a 12 gig card. I'm looking forward to at least taking a look at it. If I can't fix it, hopefully I'll be able to get some money back, because otherwise I'm screwed. Interestingly, as you probably would have guessed, the description goes somewhat like this. This graphic card was received as part of a faulty batch of stock and was given the following description: not displaying, which in graphic card language could mean a bunch of different things. This here is Sally's spectacular spreadsheet where I log all of the profit I was just talking about. The target for this series to finish and end is £2,000. We are currently on £1,847.25. However, I need to make a few changes. Some good, some not so good. There was a PS5 in episode number 48 that I thought I fixed, but then it came back to me and it had a bunch of intermittent issues. I tried to fix it, I wasn't able to. So not only have I deducted that, I've also then just kept it as parts and didn't sell it. It's upstairs in the loft. That netted us a profit of minus 145.26, which in the actual episode gave us minus 67.42. Before that, it was like plus 140 something. So a big difference there. However, these two items have sold. Episode number 51 and 52, we had a PS5 digital and a Switch OLED. These sold for, drum roll please, not good amounts, let's put it that way. The OLED sold for a whopping £86.37 after the eBay fees, netted us a profit of £15.21 for fixing a Nintendo Switch OLED. That OLED I bought for £66.47. I thought I was going to sell it for £100, and I wasn't even close. Now for the PS5 digital, please. I thought I'd get £200 for it. However, I got £215.68, which gives us a profit of £53.40. That's much more like it. After all that adjusting, our actual total profit is now £1,682.61. So we're still about £300 off the target. Not good. If, big if, capital I, if I'm able to fix this graphics card, I see them go for around about £350 to £400, meaning I would make a very nice profit if I was able to fix it. Should we dig in and see what we can find? Let's do it. As with all things good and glorious, I think our best bet right now is to not even plug it in and just go for a general inspection. So I'm going to take it apart. The bad news, obviously, I think as we can all tell and see from this perspective, it's got some sort of a number on, which would to me insinuate that maybe, it has been worked on before. Now, I also thought that you have warranty stickers over these screws, and these screws look like they've been opened before. But it does say here that warranty is removed if you remove this sticker, but it doesn't look like it's covering a screw hole. Same with this one up here, but again, doesn't look like it's actually covering a hole. So first things first, I'm gonna take the stickers off and take this one off as well. Fans seem to spin okay. Let me try and get this taken apart, which I'm massively gonna struggle with. It looks to be like some sort of warranty sticker here. That's been sliced. This sticker's been sliced. I'm in a load of trouble, to be honest. And I don't think this is gonna start too well. Yeah, it's definitely been sliced. I can't for the life of me work out how to get this apart. I think we're actually missing two screws here, because there's two up here as well. I've not touched these, but there's also a couple of screw holes here I think we're also missing. Straight to YouTube. That probably didn't need to come out. And this right here is a Joey in his natural habitat struggling to take this apart. Why does it have to be so difficult? I wish it was just as easy and simple as the equipment provided from today's video sponsor, Ugreen. I've been looking to get a NAS for a while, and I just wanted something that could keep it extremely simple. I didn't want to have a degree in networking. I didn't want to pay for something that was ridiculously overpriced. And I was looking to move away from really expensive cloud storage where you pay monthly fees. If you don't know me or the brand, I like to keep things simple. I'm also looking for a solution where my editor can also download large files and upload in the same space, which then gives me the honor to introduce the Ugreen DH2300. It is a 2-bay NAS and supports a maximum total storage of up to 60 terabytes. In the box, you get yourselves an Ethernet cable, a power adapter for the unit itself, a bubbly 2-year warranty, some 2.5 and 3.5 inch screws, a handy dandy screwdriver that I actually used, of course, the NAS as well, and last but not least, a user guide. It's built for extremely beginner-friendly use like myself. And great news is that there's no monthly storage fees. It's a one and done sort of situation. The device itself uses Ugreen's own operating system, which is funnily enough UGOS Pro. Safe to say, even for myself, using the operating system to set up the drives was really easy. I personally opted for two 4TB Iron Wolf drives, and the idea here is to have it set up in RAID 1 format, which before owning a NAS I didn't really know what it was. It basically means if one of my 4TB drives fail, then all of my data will be backed up on the other one. It does mean, however, instead of having 8TB of full storage, it's actually half to 4. Also, when it comes to spitting facts, this thing has a USB-C port in the front. We have a 1GB LAN port, again making sure everything is nice and snappy once on the network, and security-wise, everything tip-top. In the basic setup, it allowed me to set up two-factor authentication just to be extra safe. As an extreme noob and somebody who just wanted something that was pretty much plug and play, I think this is as good as it gets. Now, on top of their insane price point, Ugreen are willing to give you a further 20% off this product. This is only valid until the 9th of November. So if you're planning to get yourself a simple yet reliable NAS, don't wait around and get one now. The code for 20% off will be linked down below in the description. A huge thank you to Ugreen for sponsoring this. And now back to the video. This card is absolutely huge, by the way. I think that bit does need to come off so I can get to the fan headers. There we go. I don't know much about repairing GPUs, but they kind of look like new pads, these ones. I don't know if they are, as well as the fact the thermal paste on the actual core itself is pretty scarce. Okay, I'm going to take apart the rest of the board and then we'll get to inspecting to see if there has been any work that's been done to it before. And then we can start measuring voltages, I think, anyway, and see what the next steps are. I can see a bit of wick. Okay, that's interesting. I can see a bit of wick. Why could I see a bit of wick? No screws as far as I can tell. What's holding this backplate in? Probably these ones, Joey. Maybe not. Can't see any more screws. Here we go over to the scope. What am I going to see first? The chip. Anything? What? Oh, no. Okay, I see a lot of like burnt flux is what I'm going to go with. I don't know if there's meant to be a component here on U12. I don't think there is, but why is there a bit of wick? Is that wick? Yeah, it is wick. Why is there wick under the core? Is that touching any balls or anything? Has the core been reballed? Is that what I'm potentially looking at here? Can't tell. I mean, those solder balls under there do look a little bit like they are glistening. That might be a reballed core. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, the core is the big chip, the main chip. And I mean, if it is that, we are in trouble. That's for sure. I can't tell, but I mean, immediately there's wick here as well. Wait, what? Why is there wick on the corners of the core in two locations? There's wick here. There's wick here. Why? I mean, GPUs are new to me regardless. So the fact that I've got wick in the corner, like, is this some method of something? You know, like, what is this? Why is there wick here? This is the bit of wick that I saw earlier, but there's wick in the two corners of the core. What am I even looking at? Like, logically, I can't really think as to why there would be wick there, unless the only thing I could think of is if somebody reballed the core, put the core on, and then there was like solder squeezes that came out, and they thought, oh, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to wick that solder away. I mean, that's the only reason that I can think of. But again, I don't work on GPUs, so maybe this is going to be a very expensive mistake purchase. I've heard rumors of people taking cores off cards and then selling them on eBay, so I am just going to really quickly check that this is the core for a 3080 Ti and that I've not been scammed. I think from what I'm looking at online, this chip is the chip that's meant to be here. The number that I've googled is this one, GA102225A1, and that is indeed something that would go on a 3080 Ti. So maybe this is the chip. Anyway, I'm going to carry on with like further inspection and see if there's anything else that is rather sus. But I mean, the fact that I've got wick on the corners of the core, it does not give me good hope. I have no idea if there's anything that is missing. It's quite hard to tell with this board as well, actually, because it seems to be quite fluxy, you know. But unfortunately, if you're in this game, this is something that you have to be prepared to do. You have to check yourself in these deep situations and probably be a little bit more careful than what I was purchasing this. But the game's a game. That's how you get better. That's how you learn. That's how you get experience, right? I mean, everywhere else kind of looks okay, I guess. Need to look at the back of the board as well. On the back of this card as well, there's thermal paste, but it's so thick. Why is this thermal paste? Why is not even thermal paste? Sorry, thermal putty. Why is it so thick? Is that factory? I don't know. I don't know if this is factory or not. I'm just checking on the back for components. I'm pretty sure I know what my issue is though. I think the core's been reballed. Could be wrong. So I'm just making like a bit of a double check, and then I can start measuring and checking voltages, etc. This is the back of the actual ports themselves, the display ports and the HDMI circuit, which is, I believe, up here. That all looks... I'm not going to use the thermo cable because I've got no idea. But yeah, there's just thermal putty everywhere on this board. So many places. I don't know what part of it is user and what part of it is factory, unfortunately. Because this car's been opened before, I can't confirm. Everything on the back of this looks okay though, and it doesn't look like there's any chips that have been removed, unless again it's under like the thermal putty that we have here. One thing I will definitely say is that this inductor looks like it's had solder on, so I'm going to go ahead and assume maybe they had like a short on one of the main power rails and injected voltage to find out what was going on. AU, you commented about this cap. What I will confirm is that A, there's no writing on it anymore. That's not the cap that I'm looking at anyway. So I'm incorrect. But the cap that you pointed out to me was this one here, this bad boy, right? Which is coming up quite a bit. And then if I turn this over, what I can confirm is that you are indeed correct. This has almost disappeared through the board. The rest of them are okay, except for the top two. So we've got this one, and mainly this one looks like it's just poking out that little bit. So it's gone a little bit too far. Do we think that could be down to heat? So somebody's tried to heat the board for whatever reason. That cap has taken up too much heat and therefore it's expanded and pushed itself up from the board a little bit. Is that something that could be feasible? But the cap itself looks like it's coming out from the aluminium. Can you see? Yeah, look at that. I think that cap is gone, hey? Beyond gone. That does not look good. Measure the core resistances. Right, so this is where I need to learn GPUs, right? So I'm going to test myself and I'm going to get this completely wrong. It was at this point I knew that my knowledge with GPUs was in a bad spot. Just knowing exactly where to measure and what to measure, for example. So I opted to do a live stream and I invited somebody on the live stream who goes by the name of Gozy in the JDT community. Gozy's helped me on multiple occasions before, and he also really likes working on GPUs himself, and he is still learning. But when I asked if he wanted to help me with this, he jumped on a call pretty much straight away to just help me diagnose this card a little bit further. How are you?
I'm fine. I just got home.
The BIOS chip also looks like it's been resoldered. Oh dear. This one here. Oh, you're right, actually.
Oh, it's like a tiny little bit offset, right? Or I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's meant to be pin 1. I can't tell. Is that like?
Yeah, that's pin 1.
Is that pin 1 here? Is it this little indicator here? Is that saying that it's pin 1?
Yeah.
Is it? But it does look a little bit
sure.
off, doesn't it?
I mean, seeing weak under the corners of the core was the first one for me.
Yeah, I know, right? And I can also see like some discoloration here under the core. Can you see that? What is that?
Yeah,
see, look.
See,
look. What?
There's a solid chance that it has been reflown. Try to bring it back by reflowing.
Do you think just a reflow? Like, do you think that they've tried to reball it, or do you think it's just been a reflow? If you were to guess,
I would say if I would guess, I would say just a reflow.
Okay. And it doesn't look like the core is damaged, does it?
No, I mean, it of course could be, but
yeah.
Sorry. I have seen that the PCI data lane tester picture that you sent me, that all of the traces are fine.
Yeah.
So that's a good indication that a lot of the connections under the core are all right. There is a chance that it could be something like a memory issue.
For the sake of the stream, one thing, Goz, do you think that there's meant to be a component here?
I've looked at the picture and it doesn't appear that there was a cap there.
I'll go to one of the places on the on one of the pictures that I've got, and which is going to be up here. So this is another coil that we have in the top left-hand corner of the board, okay? Now, I measured here before. I can't remember what readings I got with you, Gozy, so we'll go through them again real quick. So here I get 7 ohms. Is this PEX?
Yes. Yes, this is PEX, and that's a common value, I would say. It's
reasonable. Right. Reasonable.
It's reasonable, yes. It should be low. It should be low on this card specifically. It should be low, but it shouldn't be like 1 or 0, right?
Does PEX come from the APU, from the core?
That's a good question. I mean, it is connected to the core, I'm pretty sure.
Let me chat to you.
I've never really looked into it, you know.
When you see PEX, it refers to PCIe Express Power Rail, specifically so you were right, Goz. Specifically, the voltage supply line that powers the PCIe interface and related logic in the GPU. So, in short, the PEX rail equals PCIe power rail, which equals power source for the GPU's PCIe Express controller and communications circuit. That makes sense? Let's just say I'm going to say yes. But basically, the PEX rail is the PCIe power rail. That's one thing we've confirmed. If I then scoot over, so over to the right, according to your pictures, Goz, we've got another. Is it a coil? Whereabouts am I looking here? I can't remember where we looked on. Oh no, it was here, wasn't it? It was this. Was it this space here that is just. So this one's unoccupied, right? So I don't actually have a component here on the 3080 Ti series. So if I just...
But it was memory, right? It was memory?
I think so. If I measure here, yeah, 50 ohms, 47 ohms, that is memory, right?
That looks like memory, yeah.
Good luck, brother.
So this is memory, and we get 47 ohms. That looks good to me. So then we move over. We've got these two inductors here, right?
Yes, they're both for 12 volts.
Big coils. So these are 12 volts, are they?
Sometimes are connected, sometimes are not, but yeah, they're all 12 volts.
Okay, fine. So I'm getting 80k here, and it's just going down. So I'm assuming that's okay.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right.
I mean, it's not sure. I'll check the other one as well.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, it started at 500k and it's going down. So that's that. And then finally, the last place that you wanted me to check was somewhere actually that I don't have. It might be this. Was it this coil here? Is there meant to be a coil here? Because I've got the 4R. I've got this coil here.
5 volts. Yeah.
So if I then measure, I don't know if it's going to be here. I've got no idea. Is that ground? No, neither of these are measuring. What about on here? Maybe I measured here. I mean, 1.7k.
1.6. Yeah.
That looks like.
Does that look like 5 volts? It may just be in a different location.
Yeah.
It could be. I mean, we can always check those places when we power up the card, right?
Yeah, exactly.
One of these is probably gonna be 5 volts.
Yes, yeah. Am I right in thinking that we've got all good readings of our voltage rails so far?
Yes, I would say pretty confidently that if you connect it, it will not blow up.
How sure are you, Goz? As in, like, it's the logical thing to do next, isn't it? When repairing GPUs,
yes.
It's the logical thing to
is.
do. Maybe. Oh, wait a minute. I've just seen maybe there's some writing on this connector. Can you see that? What does that say?
You can see that it says something, but I can't read it.
Does that say BIOS?
Oh.
BIOS? Something like that. If we've got memory and everything else, and the core is all good, etc., that could make sense, right?
Now that we've seen that, I would reflash the BIOS even before running the memory test, right?
So I done exactly that. I'm not going to show this part of the video because I don't want to get in any trouble. Again, I am just trying to restore this graphics card in order for it to work. There's no mods being done on this, nothing like that. So this sped up footage is me simply taking the BIOS off of the graphics card and flashing the BIOS with the file that we think is the original BIOS for it. The up-to-date BIOS that we found had a few minor changes in the code, but it was the only BIOS available for this specific card. And with that now done, it was then time to test the voltages on the GPU. Whilst I was working on the board, I also removed the cap that was bulging as well. This won't necessarily stop the card from working as it relies on several other caps. However, if we put the card under load, it would most probably affect something. But we're not doing that as we're just testing the voltages. Right, I'm going to give power. And I'm going to measure the 1.8, which is at the front. And I'm going to do PEX. I might be able to measure all of them if I'm quick enough. Because it was actually quite a long time. So let me measure. Ready?
It takes a while, yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Power.
All right.
PEX, 0.9.
Yeah, that's good.
1.8 is 1.8.
It's 1.8. Okay.
Memory, 1.375.
There.
5 volt.
Yes, that's good.
5 volt.
5 volt, 5 volt is there. So
okay.
We have everything.
All right. So now we can run diagnostics.
You can go down and put the heatsink back on, right?
Yes, yeah. So it can last longer.
So now we'll see if it detects.
From this point, I actually spent the next like 30 minutes or so putting Matt's mods or Matty's mods or mods Matty's onto a bootable USB drive to then plug in the GPU to my test rig and run the diagnostics. Now, I need the integrated graphics on the CPU to take over at this point because obviously the faulty GPU that I have doesn't post or it isn't recognized. So we use the integrated graphics on the CPU to load up this software. I believe it's in Linux. I write some sort of command and then that gives us our diagnostic. However, things just didn't turn out the way that I wanted them to turn out. For some reason, after going into the BIOS of my test rig and setting it to integrated CPU graphics, I couldn't get a post. No matter what I tried. And now the motherboard, for whatever reason, after I power it on, it clicks and turns off and then restarts every single time after about 4 or 5 seconds, but it just sits on a blank black screen. So where I currently stand is having to try and fix my test bench to test the GPU. Wish me luck, I guess. My mate has just dropped around his test bench. I built a PC recently and these are all of his old components. That's his new power supply, but I think his power supply is in here. Yes, it is. We've got the cooler as well. Okay, good stuff. This is a 650. Lord only knows what. But I'm hoping, because I think that is what the issue is. Where is it? I think this is what the issue is with the test bench. I think it's the actual PSU. So I'm going to test that and hopefully we should be all good. Okay, here we go. Please post. Please, please, please. Power supply on. Good. Everything plugged in. Button. Please, please post. Don't start ticking at me. Please, please, please. Okay. Yes, it was power supply. Oh my gosh. The other power supply was faulty. I'm so glad I've worked that out. Okay, now I can carry on. I'm actually in disbelief. So after I swapped out that PSU, I then had the same issues. So the PSU, in fact, wasn't the fault. After I pressed Y to reset the bit locker, because I had actually swapped another CPU, the motherboard still had the same issues where it just wouldn't post. I then decided it was time to put my friend's test bench on, which was motherboard, RAM, CPU, pretty much everything, except for the fact that I used the old power supply. And this is what happened. So I set up my friend's bench, the motherboard, everything's plugged in. I went back to my power supply because his power supply worked. I thought I'd try my power supply. My power supply wasn't the issue. Even my SSD is over. I've just plugged in the GPU with the cables and the HDMI plugged in, and I have an image. I'm lost. I'm actually lost for words. The GPU works. It's not faulty. In that aspect, I'm literally so confused, right? Unless it was just a BIOS issue, and by us putting the right BIOS on the GPU, it's now working. I haven't got all the screws in, so I need to be super careful here, but the fans were spinning a second ago. Obviously, it's not under load, so it's not doing anything right now, but I've got a display. And just to show, if I go into Device Manager, there it is, GeForce RTX 3080 Ti. And I think obviously it needs drivers and stuff, but what on earth is going on? All of this stuff is popping up. I don't know what this all means, but other devices and whatnot, no idea. But it works. So I have some serious thinking to do. Unfortunately, I hate to do this. I'm out of time. It is 4:20 and this video goes out at 5 p.m. on specifically Wednesday, the 29th of October, 2025. I'm missing a cap because I took the cap off, so I don't want to stress test the GPU. It hasn't got any screws in, nothing like that. I don't know if I need to replace the thermal pads because they were pretty awful. There was wick under the core. How this card is working, I have no idea. The only thing that we did was update the BIOS on the GPU. That's the only reason why I think it could potentially be working. Now, I obviously didn't test the GPU when I bought it. I didn't plug it in because if it had a short, I could have blown up my test bench. My test bench is broken anyway for whatever reason. But I obviously need to investigate this a bit further. I'm thinking about doing a follow-up. I can't confirm now if I've made a profit or a loss for profit or loss. I don't think that would be fair for me to turn around and say, yep, we've made a profit now, because there's so much more testing I need to do. I'm actually thinking about plugging this GPU into my rig after I've replaced the cap and checked the thermal pads and sorted the thermal paste and done all of those bits. So I think we go for a part 2 with this. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. But I am so dumbfounded. I have no words. Two things. A huge shout out to my friend for bringing over the test bench, because we wouldn't have had that satisfying win at the end. And a huge thank you to Gozy. I will leave Gozy's YouTube channel down below for just helping me. And that's what the JDT community is all about. And Gozy is a great example and representation of the community itself. So I guess we'll call this a to be continued, and I'll try and get it sorted as soon as possible. Huge thank you to Ugreen, of course, as well, for sponsoring today's video. If you did enjoy it, to please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and as always, I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.